Alrighty, welcome to another edition of Super Kicking It with Steven and Greg, your favorite host right here of Super Kicking It. Greg over there, Steven right here. We're ready to talk up the road to WrestleMania, Greg. Can you believe it? This is WrestleMania week, one of the most fun weeks. We're going to have to get all of our live streaming out of the way. We'll talk off camera about what that schedule might look like, but definitely probably be live predicting it Saturday and Sunday for sure, and then figure out what we want to do Friday. I'm pretty open to time wise just because I'm on spring break, but um, not much in the Hall of Fame. We can get into that right now. Looks like only three names announced, Greg, but a lot of matches for Saturday night and for Sunday night, and I think it's going to be a really great weekend. This is like Triple H's baby. You know, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Vince McMahon has a blah blah blah." I think this is all Triple H's hand. You know, could Vince say stuff? Sure, but it is funny. We haven't heard much with his name other than that night that he just kind of was backstage. So when John Cena came back, I think that was more why he was there, but whatever. So good weekend for you, Greg. Anything fun, excited to report before we get into the news of the week?
No, just a nice normal week. Second week here in Charleston, getting settled in and uh,
You working?
taking care of the nesting. Yep. Second week of working, adjusted to all the new people, the new uh, airport, and you
Same
know,
position?
same. Well, actually, I'm doing more now
Okay.
because it's such a small airport. Instead of just working at the gates, I'm at the ticket counter and the gates, which is a little bit of a learning curve there, but it's still fun and learning some new things. So you can always add some more tools to the bag. And but this Charleston's very chill. It's very laid back. It's very um, a lot less chaotic than Charlotte was,
Mhm.
which is pretty much the hub for the East. And
Yeah.
um, it's a lot less volume of people and um, issues you have to deal with. So I'm actually enjoying the slower pace out here.
Good. All right. Well, that is awesome to hear. Ready to talk up some stuff. Let's get to this first news item we found, Greg. So it was announced John Cena and Austin Theory is kicking off. That's right. It is curtain jerking. It is the first match. It is not Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. Um, Greg, this is the first match. So either one thing about this is John Cena probably has to jet out after WrestleMania match. The second thing is, could there be second thoughts about main eventing with the tag team title match, Greg? So your thoughts on this match kicking off the night?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. That first match of the night is huge. It is very, very important. It sets the tone for the rest of the night. And if you put a stinker up on the first match, then expectations are all the way down. So it's a lot of pressure on Cena. It's a lot of pressure on Austin Theory, but it's kind of what you want to be too, because we're looking at Austin Theory as
Say no
a
love.
younger version of John Cena. And, if you're going to give him that rub and make him one of your pillars, to steal an AEW term, for the next 10 years, 15 years, it's time to start doing that. So putting him in that spot is a huge vote of confidence. And it is also a kind of a make or break situation, because you can either fly or you can crash and burn, and nobody's going to look at you seriously anymore for the rest of your career. So it's a huge spot. I get why they did it, and getting John Cena's music to start the night is going to get a huge pop. It's going to get the place rocking right off the bat, and then Theory coming out as the champ. It's a great spot to start. So I get it, and I hope it works. And so looking at is going to be the main event spot for night one. Um, are we going to look at having the Sammy KO be the final match of the night? Usually that's saved for a singles title match. I was thinking that was going to be Charlotte and Rhea, and
But
if they do that, are you going to try to do that match for the open of night 2 and then have, you know, the
The
bloodline
book
go
and
down on night 2 with the Usos going down in the first match and Roman going down in the last match? So there's a lot of, ways to play it. So
I don't think you
um,
can put it in the middle of the night. I don't like
no,
the idea of it in the middle of the night. But then at the same time, I think they each need their own night too, just with the storylines. And
right.
usually WrestleMania is what is the best story, going into, and I think that should be the main event. Now and I also see Rhea and Charlotte, like Royal Rumble winner, probably should get the main event, but Rhea and Charlotte, Greg, they just have there's nothing there, right? I mean, you had Charlotte's little
No.
promo, and some people said, "Is she the heel now?" Like, her promo was just kind of, all over the place on SmackDown. So now another side people have been bringing up, Greg, that I've seen is could this also set up a debut, i.e., Jay White coming out after this match and going right after the U.S. title. I mean, he's already been a big champion in New Japan. What better way to start him off on the right foot to take out, Austin Theory sooner rather than later. Give him a
Hmm.
title right off the bat, and that's a selling point to him as well. Hey, look, we're going to make you a champion right away. We're not going to put you in NXT. We, got all the tools. You know how to work the cameras. You've got this. So that could be interesting too. Could a debut happen after Theory wins? Cena's kind of out of the background, Greg, and could there be a big debut? So that was another avenue I thought was interesting to explore as well.
Hmm. I like the idea. I mean, I expect that a couple debuts, some people we haven't seen.
Yeah.
So if not a debut, somebody who we haven't seen for a long time,
Hmm.
pop up during WrestleMania. I mean, they
Yeah.
do it on the smaller shows. This would be the moment to blow somebody up right out the bat, like Jay White, um, or somebody who's just coming back, like Riddle. Well, know what the
Hmm.
story with Riddle is. If he makes a cameo, um,
Orton.
place would blow up. Orton also, yeah. So there's plenty of room to bring somebody back that we haven't seen in forever, or bring in a free agent for somewhere else. Maybe there's an AEW guy whose contract, his
That
lapse,
we haven't
and
even thought about.
yeah, and we're gonna see him.
Yep.
So there's tons of room for something like that, and this is a great spot to debut somebody like that. So
Because we
yeah,
heard
absolutely.
Orton's being scheduled possibly to be at WrestleMania. So could Theory kind of run through um, at ruthless aggression era guys? We maybe take out Orton next at Backlash. So a lot of possibilities there for. But like you said, I think the biggest thing is this is a big selling point for Austin Theory to be given this opening match with
Yeah.
Cena and on night one. I mean, this is it. The other thing, Greg, I know this is kind of hard to see, but somebody put, "Hey, girl, are you in WWE still?" to Miss Trinity Fatu, normally Naomi, and she says, "No, friend." I guess that's how you would say that, Greg. I'm not a good speaker of black women, but yeah. So there we go, and she is going to appear at WrestleCon. This is a cropped image, but it does have her real name. She'll be
Hmm.
there. Mercedes will be there. So, any thoughts on where Trinity ends up, Greg? Or does
Wow.
she?
I
I'm
mean,
kind of just thinking she does modeling or other avenues. I don't. I think wrestling might take a back seat for her.
yeah. I mean, she doesn't need it right now. I mean, she can sit and just kind of enjoy life outside of wrestling, and sure she has for like the last however many months it's been since she and Sasha walked out. Um, but I'm sure there's all the companies are throwing money at her.
Yeah.
I'm sure WWE wants her back. I'm sure AEW would love to make her all elite.
Mhm.
Um, Sasha's going over to Japan. I'm sure they're throwing some money at her too.
Mhm.
So she probably has the world at her fingers. She can choose whatever she wants to do, and she stayed quiet and probably just enjoying her life. And like I said, the modeling, and she's probably looking over at who's one that just left, Mandy Rose on OnlyFans, making millions of dollars, and thinking I could do that too, or so
There's
I
options.
don't blame her for taking time off from taking bumps and enjoying life.
And probably keeping quiet is good, Greg, in case there is that the door's open. She didn't burn any bridges. She hasn't really shown anything, that she's wanted to do otherwise. So who knows? Maybe Triple H could, after Mania, talk to her and be like, hey, what do you think you want to do? I mean, you know, there's still the door, I think, but because like we've said, man, her and the Hurt Business, her with Bloodline,
Yep.
I mean, there's options there that would really up her character. Because look at all the Bloodline guys, they've all upped their games. So, and then, like I said, I think MVP would do a lot of good for her. Really give her another avenue to her character if she were to do that. So, and like we said, a new and improved Hurt Business. If you throw Carmelo Hayes, throw out Street Profits, maybe, or maybe one of them. Does Montez or Angelo somehow? But like you said, I think there's plenty of options. I think keeping quiet is good. Not airing out all the, do the podcast when you when you've moved on or whatever. But I thought it was interesting that we at least get this. We knew it, but now it's confirmed from the source, Greg, that this is probably official. So yeah. And then I just kind of have a blank screen. Anything else that you want to throw out there that might have caught your eye? I know we brought up Randy Orton being back, possibly scheduled. Riddle should be back anytime soon, I would assume. Andy Kaufman is the latest inductee into the Hall of Fame, Greg. We have Rey Mysterio, Great Muta, and Andy Kaufman. I think the fact that you're doing it right after SmackDown, on Friday night, I'm fine with a smaller class. On the nights that it was its own thing. What was the Warrior one? Oh my gosh, Greg! Now that one I thought was never going to end. But some of these classes have been 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. 7 or 8 guys. When you had its own evening. But now with WrestleMania doing the 2-night thing, and if you're going to do the Hall of Fame right after SmackDown, I think the hour-ish time or hour and a half is probably the best. So 3 to 4, maybe 5 people would be great. But I'm thinking we get these 3 and maybe the Warrior Award, and maybe that's it. And it also makes you wonder, like we've said too, does something more happen with Rey Mysterio and Dominique? Even though we got that officially done now, Greg, but does Dominique come in to ruin the night and kind of play that up? So. Any thoughts on Andy Kaufman, though? I mean, that's long overdue. I guess he definitely played a part. he broke that line, of real life and what was fake, and really, showed us what could be done when you play a storyline across the board. Now we see it in social media, Greg, but that was on David Letterman. Like who, can you imagine like Roman Reigns going on Jimmy Fallon and Cody Rhodes shows up to confront him? Like that's the type of stuff,
right?
We could, or Logan Paul, like if Logan Paul's doing an interview on ESPN and then, Seth Rollins shows in the screen, like that type of stuff. So, what do we think about the idea, smaller class? I mean, pretty good candidate. I mean, these are pretty too strong, and Rey Mysterio, Great Muta, 2 innovators in their own ways. So I think it's a strong class in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is great. I think less is more.
Yeah.
And when you put just 3 guys in there, um, you give them their, just time, and you're not trying to run through all these people or make it super long, like in some of those earlier years. And as far as Andy Kaufman goes, I didn't dig the whole storyline with Lawler and that business, but it's coming from being an OG fan since 8 years old and watching the guy come in and mock it and just like get this guy out of here. I don't want it, but that's the thing. We wanted to see him get his face beat in.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with Lawler, it did help elevate the business a little bit because, people had their stigmas about pro wrestling at the time, and he kind of brought it into the mainstream. So as much as they enjoy the back and forth with him and Lawler, it served its purpose.
Yeah.
And it got them a bigger audience, which is what you do this for. So I give them credit for that. And, people, out in entertainment and sports and have gone and done it better numerous times, in the decades since that. So, but they are kind of the innovators with that. So credit to them for that. And then I think that another great reason of just doing the three is I think there is going to be something with Ray and Dominic, and that's going to add some more fuel to, their WrestleMania match. So keeping the inductees short and giving, some extra time for the Ray portion of the night to play out. I think it's the whole idea between just having three guys going in.
Oh, and also we have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, Greg, back on SmackDown, and Lashley and LA Knight are included in it. Should we take that for no WrestleMania plans for them, or do you think they'll pull double duty?
Well, everything's been quiet about Bray Wyatt. I saw one of the promo trailers, and it's showing the movie marquee, and Bray Wyatt is one of the movie posters. So it still, raises an eyebrow for me.
So is Alexa, though, but
yeah, nobody's saying anything. Nobody's. Yeah. I still think we're going to see some incarnation of Bray Wyatt, whether it's the Fiend or Uncle Howdy or something Bray Wyatt related at WrestleMania. So if there's nothing, then something's definitely wrong, and they're going to have to pull back the reins on Bray Wyatt if he can't keep himself, ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I still think LA Knight shows up on Mania too. It's a battle royal, whatever. Like, you have a day off, or you don't have a day off, but if you could wait till Sunday night, if maybe pull a muscle or something, you can play it out. So I don't take too much stock into them being on, the battle royale. Maybe maybe LA Knight wins it, and then he can brag about it all WrestleMania weekend, and then somebody comes out to confront him about it. So other than that, anything you found? Sorry, I kind of overshot you, so I apologize. But anything you saw on your end, Greg?
No, yeah, I think it's been pretty quiet in the lead up to, our super weekend this weekend. So,
all right, well, let's do a quick commercial break. Get you some Rogue Energy talk and get right into Raw, SmackDown, and NXT talk. Alrighty, we will get into Raw talk. So the big stuff, Greg. Obviously, the Bloodline, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens is taking the reins, pun intended, of everything for Mania. We started with the night, we ended with the night. We looked at the beginning, Greg. So we did have we're getting official, and we kind of talked it up. Does the main event. Jey Uso, Jimmy Usos, the brothers against the brothers from another mother's, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. You know what, Greg? My prediction is already set. You've already known it since a long time ago. This is all the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. What about the T-shirt though for Sami Zayn? Oh, well, we saw that on SmackDown. Sorry, but a lot of people have tweeted it out. Why have we not done WrestleZania yet? Because I mean, it just fits. So cool to see a legit, tag team shirt. It's no Y2AJ shirt, Greg, but it will do, as they say. So Kevin Owens always gets a cool shirt for WrestleMania that pays homage to, past from WrestleManias. But we're going to get an official good segment. Yeah. Anything else to add?
No, it's a great segment, and giving the people what they want, and we get our 5-star tag team match. Already calling it that it's going to be amazing, and it had to be done. And they finally set it in stone. So kudos to them.
And then I guess we already kind of talked it for SmackDown, so we won't get into that for Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. But then at the end of the night, what about the Roman Reigns solo stuff, Greg? I don't know if you've seen, but people have been posting. There was an off-camera segment, or not segment, but as Roman was going to the back, he was yelling at Solo the whole time. We're seeing another crack that I think he could play into. Solo wanting to go after it, and then Roman holding back. And what about Cody Rhodes bringing up the idea of legacy, knowing how that is. So what do we think? I think big things are playing for Solo after this, right?
Yeah, I think we talked about that last week, is that he's getting primed for a solo career.
Mhm.
And, apart from the bloodline, just him on his own, and even apart from the Usos. So maybe that means he gets drafted to the other brand, to Raw, while the Usos stay on SmackDown, or they flip it and put them, different places. But Solo, I think, is going to become, literally by himself, and go on a singles run. And so, Cody said he's not ready, but he's getting that first true test, and that's what's going to show him that he's not ready. And then he's going to be time to put him on a brand and let him run for himself without standing next to Roman Reigns the whole time. It's been a great introduction to everybody, having to come up through NXT and being the heavy for Roman. But now he's had that time. He's got that cachet built up for him, and now it's time to use it and let him chase some singles titles and make his own name.
And we're getting Cody and Solo on Monday night, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And then we'll get the final face to face. So, we have yet to see Cody and Solo one on one. So I think that'll be a really cool match to see how Cody, elevates Solo. I mean, that's pretty huge. So, so in the middle ground, Greg, well, we talked about Austin Theory. I brought it up. Montez Ford and Dawkins. We think they're Splitsville after this Mania.
At this point, I think it should be. And I love the Street Profit. I've loved them since NXT, and they are a natural tag team, which is something that we don't see much of. So,
but also
the
they've been
problem
together
is,
for a year. They've kind of hit their plateau, I think.
they have that they're not given any more legitimacy, as far as taking a lot of L's, and uh,
And Montez keeps getting I think he gets the more high profile matches solo wise, right?
he is, and he's looking a lot greater. He's added some bulk to his frame. He's getting bigger. He's getting more swole, and he still looks like $1,000,000. And it just keeps getting more athletic. Dawkins just looks like he's lost some of that flubber around his midsection also, but he hasn't elevated to the level that Montez has, and Montez is dripping star power. Is like
I
next
think
big thing
Angelo
type of star power.
with MVP could be something.
Could be, yeah. I can definitely see that.
I think him
And
kind of building him up and working with him behind the scenes, on mic skills. Because let's face it,
Hmm.
Angelo's mic skills are a little not there, you know. Um, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do to separate himself from the Street Profits. So, like we said, I think Montez, he's been primed and ready for this. Like
Yeah.
you could tell he's kind of gone behind the scenes to do what he can. But what about another guy, Ali, Greg? Does the right every time I feel like we get something with him, it just I don't know. Almost obviously picked up the win. Ali's doing this. We keep getting the backstage stuff with him and Ziggler. Is this a battle of who's going to get released first between him and Ziggler?
I know. I feel bad for Ali almost. He keeps getting started and stopped and started and stopped. And
Yes.
he
Yes.
looks like he got some little something going and then he gets smashed.
Yes.
Um, and nobody gets thrown in front of the train more than Ali. So
Tries to
going
make the
all the way
most of
back
it.
to, yeah, he does. He does.
He's
And
looking
then,
retribution. That I know it didn't get anywhere, but at least he tried to do something with it.
right. So, they didn't give up on it. They gave him something.
Yeah.
But, um, the whole concept crash and burn, that wasn't exactly his fault. It was probably bad planning to begin with. But
Mm-hmm.
um, they just haven't found the right role for him. I mean,
Yeah.
Retribution was a decent idea. Having him being the guy who was supposed to be the original Kofi Mania casting
Which is crazy.
was, yeah, I mean, it could have been him. How would that have played out? So it's not for lack of trying, but guys just been snake bit. So, you feel for him.
Then you have a chance with a Muslim American to show what you know, like it's amazing he's not being, booked like Mansoor in Saudi Arabia or something. To really show, that this can be an option for that type, those type of, a person like him. That's what WWE is all about, trying to showcase diversity, talents, and to show, there's an avenue out there. So I'm just like you said, the start and stop thing. I just question that. How often is he going to be able to? I mean, Ziggler's taking it this long, Greg. So Ali might be like, hey, Ziggler made a career of it. I can too, Maybe I'll get an Intercontinental title run somewhere in there or a U.S. title run. I think that's when they should have pulled the, just like he confronted Seth, and then that went nowhere. Like, who's to say
Right.
that could have been a moment? That should have been a moment. So,
I would have rather seen him than him, Seth fighting Logan Paul. That's for sure.
which is happening. Um, so that happened. Logan Paul's Impulsive TV. Yeah, that happened. Dominic defeated Johnny Gargano. Rhea Ripley defeated Bailey. What do we think about Bailey Damage Control, Greg? Do they, are they losing all these matches just to kind of sneak out a heelish win come WrestleMania?
It looks like it. I mean, they're taking a lot of their lumps now, and yeah, I think there's some shenanigans going to happen that get them the win. I mean, Lita and Becky have a chance, but how long do we expect that to last? So that's the whole thing. I would be surprised if they came up with a stipulation is like it's a 6-woman tag, but the belts are still on the line, kind of thing. So um, something's up, and it would make more sense that Damage Control ends up, on top of the rivalry. You had your feel good moment with Becky and Trish and Lita, and now it's time to, put it back to normal. So unless Lita's sticking it out to actually go for a legit run that's going to last next 6, 7, 8 months, then you got to keep those titles in circulation and get them on active competitors.
Yeah. I feel like they're at least going to let Lita and Becky through Backlash. And then whoever wins out of that WrestleMania showcase will get the next tag team title shots. So, Ricochet picked up win over Chad Gable. This is just playing off the WrestleMania showcase for the men's side. You know what, Greg? I was thinking about. I'm like, man, I would rather just throw the battle royals instead of these weird tag team matches, especially when we saw SmackDown had Natty and Shotzi versus Lacey and Xia Li. They're like, here's a dartboard. We're just going to throw names, together. But yeah,
It's like a dark match or a
yeah, a kickoff.
Yeah, WWE Friday night. Nobody watches this match just to warm up the crowd, kind of thing on SmackDown. It's like looking at my head and shaking it. Fast forwarded through most of it. It's like this is a hot mess. You already know what's going to happen. So
And we love our tag teams. Will they coexist? And this did work for the most part. Bianca and Asuka picked up win. What about Piper Niven being maybe involved with Chelsea Green and Carmella as like some heavy for them? Do you think that could get Piper Niven some momentum back, Greg, or do you think it's just we're just going to throw Piper wherever we can, like Naya? She just kind of was shoehorned, put into places that we were just like, okay, whatever, we'll go with it. You know what I'm like? I don't know. They're probably not really sure what to do with Piper Niven, right?
exactly. I mean, Chelsea and Carmella make perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea, Carmella, and Piper doesn't make sense. Like one of these things is not like the other, and there needs to be a different path for Piper than hanging out with these two narcissistic divas, because that's not her. That's not the Piper Niven we know. So um,
But as a
it
heavy
could
for them,
it could be, once we've established why she's a part of the group,
uh-huh.
because she definitely doesn't fit the mold as far as
Yeah,
looks or personality. She barely says anything, and I think the role should be established a little bit, but
yeah.
um, it could be just to get her some camera time. It could be to um, set up the turn or whatever we're doing, because now we're casting her as a heel by running with Carmella and Chelsea Green, and it could be the obvious turn at WrestleMania when they lose the match and blame her for it, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
we'll
And then
see.
like we said, we kind of talked up the Roman stuff. So we'll get into NXT talk. We're still kind of building up these women's matches. I guess I'm still confused by the Roxanne stuff, Greg, because it sounds like she could be there, but then she tweeted out she's not going to be there. Uh, you know, Tiffany Stratton and Lyra pick up wins. Um, Indy Hartwell, Greg, is that train. Come on, just book her the flight to LA Monday night after Raw, SmackDown after, SmackDown after Mania, because what is she doing down there?
Yeah, nothing. Just nothing. There's a queue of people just waiting for that Monday after WrestleMania,
Yeah.
and Indy's got to be in that boat because she has nothing worth doing down there.
They're
Nothing to
just
do.
they're throwing her in anything.
Yeah,
So, what about Tiffany Stratton? I'm starting to she's starting to grow on me, Greg. She can work in the ring. Obviously, she can talk. The Tiffany Epiphany thing, I think it's going to catch on just because it's so kitschy. But sometimes that stuff, that's all you need, right? Are you on the Tiffany train yet, or are you waiting?
I'm with you. I'm liking her a little bit more as time goes by. It was pretty. How I feel about the stock characters.
Yeah,
Daddy's little rich girl thing has been done
but she's
over
carving
and
out
over
her
and
own
over.
little niche for it.
Right, and she's finding a way to add some layers to it. So,
Mhm.
give her some credit for that instead of just taking the path that's been blazed a million times over. Just adding some more wrinkles to it. So, props to her, and that gives me tuned in while she's doing her promos or during her matches. So, yeah,
And
I agree with you.
showing off in the ring a little bit more. She's got some good athleticism. So,
Hmm.
what else we got? So, trying to look at Stand and Deliver. So we also have tag team titles. There was a little barroom thing. So we're gonna get Gallus, Creed brothers, and Tony D'Angelo and Stacks going at it, a tag team title match. So we got that. And what about the Schism stuff, Greg? So we're going to have Chase U versus Schism for control of Chase U.
I know
Is it going to become Schism U?
It's very interesting. I like the angle, and um, speaking of growing on you, Chase U definitely has.
Yeah.
Because it was just a kind of a lame idea from stock character to college professor and student section, just all to paint by numbers. But they've owned it, and they've added their own layers to it. It's become entertaining to watch during Andre Chase's matches, and pretty much the other Chase U people when they're in there. It's actually become watchable. So to do this with Schism and have this be for control, I like the angle, and just the fact that you think about it, it could happen, it couldn't happen. There's no obvious, this is going to be the outcome. So that's my favorite part of it. And Schism taking over Chase U could be really fun. Once that happens, and Joe Gacy is the leader of Chase U. So
Or Duke Hudson, he's kind of the X factor, right? Could he turn, and kind of ruin things for them? Because he's kind of been on the fence recently about that stuff. What about this fatal? What is it? 5-way. So we do have J.D. McDonough, Ilya Dragunov, Dragon Lee, who's going to get his first taste of NXT time, Greg Wesley, and then we have a fifth member who has yet to be announced. So it should be interesting to kind of see who that fifth member is. But Dragon Lee, I mean, the crowd knows who he is. It sounds like. I'm interested to see what he does. And then you get Ela and JD just kind of messing with the toughness factor in there, Greg. This is going to be a nice little, Wesley challenge, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's as star-studded as you can get with NXT, and then with one more person coming in to add to the mix, even better. So this has another one of those 5-star matchups on it. Anything with Dragunov on it, I'm in it. I love that guy. And Dragon Lee, from watching him at AEW, he's going to kill it. I have no doubt about that. And then, we love the mystery guys, who's going to come out of the curtain. And, it's going to be, this could be a good main roster surprise. Yeah. That we see somebody off the main roster, talking about guys who aren't being used right now, coming down. Or, I don't know what the story of Tyler Bate is. Maybe that could be, he could be the fifth man.
Oh, no, he's in the Chase U, remember?
Oh, is he? Oh,
because it's Duke, Tyler Bate, Andre, and Thea, then Ava Rain, the two guys from the Grizzled Young Veterans, and then Joe Gacy.
Okay, gotcha.
Because Tyler Bate is the almost like the emotional person of Chase U, like the yoga and the social emotional learning, the SEL of them. So, yeah.
Gotcha. So,
Cameron Grimes, could he show back up? Just to kind of get a little, warm up. He's been off TV for a while, but maybe a last hurrah.
He's on that Monday after WrestleMania train with the next Indy Hartwell. So yeah, that could be a great send off for him. Let him participate in the match, let him get the win on the way out the door. So get the pinfall.
Yep.
So
maybe do a double duty, like some guys have done, girls have done, just for a little bit, to the next pay-per-view, whatever. And then Braun Breaker, Carmel Hayes defeated Pretty Deadly. They'll be the host of Stand and Deliver, Greg. So I'm sure there'll be some shenanigans there. But Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes next week, Sunday or Saturday at 1 p.m. That's going to be the match to watch.
absolutely.
Kind of see how they work together, one and done. I'm thinking, Greg, but still a cool, like we said, loser leaves NXT, I think, but yeah, a good match for the NXT title there. So I'm hoping Stand and Deliver, I hate it, stands and delivers, as they say, gives us, like you said, gives us some surprises, gives us that NXT of old feel. I think with the
Right.
hot crowd, the stage set, I think it will kind of harken back to that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's not black and gold brand takeover yet, but it's
It's not
getting
2.0
closer to it.
either.
Exactly. We've run away from 2.0, and it's slowly going up the hill back to takeover level.
Or its own
So,
incarnation, like a mixture of
right.
both, which is what we should have done anyway.
It's definitely getting better.
Yeah. SmackDown brought up Cody Rhodes. First match back on SmackDown in a while, Greg. 7 years, I thought they said. Defeats Ludwig Kaiser. Pretty solid match there. Any thoughts on it?
No, good match.
Yeah.
Predictable, but good.
Yeah. What about Charlotte? What was that promo?
Charlotte's promos are hit and miss, and just this was a big old miss.
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't. I don't know. It, like we said, it just seems like you never know with what you're going to get her. You're going to get with her. Like, I feel like bragging about yourself is more heelish, especially like Rhodes or the Flair family's always on top, and name called a lot of names though, Greg. And then brought up the nepotism. I guess I like her bringing up this stuff, but she's already brought it up, right? I mean, we can't hit. We need to stop hitting that well so much.
I would rather win a squash match and then just yell into the camera for a minute, right? Yeah. And then be done with it. It would have been a lot more productive.
Yeah. LA Knight picks up a win, thanks to Dominic. And then what about the pop, Greg, for Ray taking Dominic down? Which makes me think, man, what is going to be the silence when Dominic rolls up his dad for a win at WrestleMania, Greg? Because I think it's coming. I mean, he once put over his son. So, but I thought he was going to slap the mom. Did you think maybe he was like? I thought Dominic was going to hit, Ash or Angela, but or she was going to slap him. But gets in her face, tells her to shut up. Aaliyah gets involved, thinking back to her and good old Buddy Murphy's love affair, Greg.
Yeah,
I was almost waiting for Buddy Murphy to show up, but anyways, that pop, and apparently this has been the most streamed, most viewed YouTube clip. So that shows what happens when you really, all the storylines have been cooking, as you like to say, Greg, and this one is set to boil. Comes Saturday or Sunday, whichever night they do it. So we are going to get it official, and then like we've brought up, I think the Hall of Fame. I think you do one last kind of salvo shot to it, and let that be the closing shot of the Hall of Fame, and then go wild at the night. So it should be interesting to see Dom and Ray go at it.
Yeah. And first, shout out to my dude, LA Knight. Yeah.
Gotta win. Hasn't had one in a while, but.
Exactly. But, getting a win finally, and then, playing out the story with Ray. We knew we were going to get it somehow, but, how he was going to do it. And I thought that, the mom was going to slap him. So I was kind of waiting on that. And, all you had to do is get in their face, tell her to shut up, and that was enough to send Ray over.
Don't talk to your mom like that.
Exactly. And when he says that, the whole crowd popped for that. Why? Because we've all heard that. Don't talk to your mom like that.
And we probably all told our mom to shut up in some words.
Yeah. So
maybe not at 20, 25 or 26-year-old Greg, but there's been a few heated moments with the moms and us before.
No, absolutely. And yeah, that pop was huge. I was waiting for that, and the way he decked him like that, and the place
Mhm.
just went nuts. I was like, that was the best thing to do. Have Dominic crawl away, and
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
let
You can
that
have
pop
Dom
ring
get the
down.
upper hand, like we said at WrestleMania or at the
Yeah,
Hall of Fame. I think that's where you kind of let that go. But like we said, Natalia and Shotzi are going to WrestleMania, and Ronda and Shayna. Greg, what about Ronda sporting that big elbow? A lot of bandages on her elbow and pads. So I think she's working through some injury. It looks like, but we're assuming they're going to win this match, right? That's what's weird. Um,
yeah. I mean, who else? I mean, Natty and Shotzi aren't the ones, and
Liv and Raquel or
um,
not.
nothing else is out there that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it just has Ronda and Shayna all over it.
I guess I want to see how
And
much Ronda will do because, like I said, she was sporting some pretty big elbow wrap there. So, um, yeah,
I don't know. Maybe she's going back to the octagon for a final match. It's been going too hard,
yeah,
but
could be.
that's not a spoiler. I haven't heard anything. I've been,
Yeah,
you know how big an MMA guy I am, but there's no
yeah. I don't
juice
think
about
her. I was
Ronda.
gonna say, I think she's fine counting her millions, working, part time Craig for WWE and being a mom. So, Butch and Gunther, we got to see them kind of relive their old days. It's kind of funny because I did like that. I think it was Corey Graves said, hey, don't forget Gunther beat Butch for the title. Even though I think
Hmm.
Michael Cole was he at that one? Did he not? I know he did I guess Tyler Bate one. Sorry, he did the very first NXT UK pay per view. Him and Nigel, whereas the most
Yeah,
comfortable I've ever heard Michael Cole in a while. But yeah, so maybe he probably wasn't at Gunther and Butch, but I liked it. Nice little. It is a throwaway match, Greg, but and then a lot of people are going with probably Sheamus pinning Drew, so that kind of keeps Gunther, out of the being pinned or submitted avenue, losing the title, which, like we've said, I think is expected, but because you do have Drew calling out Sheamus saying, "Hey, you've never done it." Now, I don't want a Drew and Sheamus feud, Craig. I hope that we see, um, Drew taking out Sheamus on SmackDown the week after first celebratory pint. That's what I want to see. I do not want to see Drew and Sheamus go at it again because we don't need that
no,
anymore. So, any
no. You
thoughts
can.
on the
Uh,
Intercontinental Triple Threat signing? The only official match, Greg, because it's the only contract that was signed.
there you go. Um,
Wait, no, Theory and Cena. They did the contract signing too.
yeah, they did. Yeah, Drew and Sheamus is add water and boil anytime you want it. So
Yes.
um, we've done that enough for
Safety
the
valve.
last year. Exactly. A triple threat. It was kind of the obvious. The longer they let it
Right
run,
now. Yep.
but it could be. Well, I think it will be the hardest hitting match of the night, whichever night they do it, because
Mhm.
these guys get it in stiff,
Yeah.
and I expect to see some AEW esque black eyes and bloody noses, things like that.
Mhm.
Um, with those three in the ring at the same time, so
Mhm.
um, I'm expecting one of those monster movie type of clashes where glasses are breaking off the windows and car alarms going off with those three in there.
Well,
So
Butch took a pretty good shot because he was bleeding coming back from a commercial break. He had some good blood coming from like the bridge of the nose, Greg. So Butch has been one to hit something hard lately. So and I guess we didn't go into it, Greg, but there's talks that he'll go back to Pete Dunne soon. And you did get the bruiserweight chant in this match. So,
nice,
hopefully maybe there's a reincarnation of that. Maybe he could do the LA Knight thing where LA Knight was like, "I'm not Max, I'm LA Knight," and let
right?
Butch shed the camo that is Butch and become Pete Dunne
Hey, that's all it takes. So absolutely bring it back.
Yep. And then the Usos ambushed Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Obviously that was going to happen, and that was SmackDown. I don't think did. I miss anything WWE wise, Greg, that you might have wanted to bring up real quick before we do our commercial break and get an AEW talk.
No, that's it. We got it.
All right, let's do another commercial break for Elite Performance. A lot of good stuff happening there. I saw you're now a community member, correct, Greg, of Elite Performance?
That's right.
So, what will you be doing? You're trying to get a little bit better shape.
Yeah, with all this moving and being, just past the holidays, there's some LBs to take off.
Mm-hmm.
Want to get into, better shape, get better on the cardio, just aside from just, walking around at work and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And so getting in better condition, better shape, and, adding some longevity. So,
Good.
why not get some elite performance in your life?
Yep. Awesome. Well, let's do our quick commercial break, and maybe Greg will show up in one of these commercials soon with his new and improved Greg the One Body. Alrighty. I'll probably do a little bit of the start and end of Dynamite here, Greg, because it connected the dots, as they say. We started the evening with a shot. I always like these. It's just a nice change of pace every once in a while. The Young Bucks being taken away in the ambulances. Brandon Cutler going, Hangman Adam Page going, but Kenny Omega staying back, Greg, which is because he had the big match with Vikingo. Is that how we said it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was hard to. I couldn't. Everybody wants to keep saying Viking O, and I'm like, well, I don't think it's Viking O, Greg. He's Spanish, so I'm sure there's some way to say it differently. But really good hot angle to start the night. I think Tony Schiavone brought up. Oh, he just got a text, or whoever brought it up, that it's possibly the BCC just continuing their final descent into what they probably should have been all along, Greg. Just a killing machine. But also the end of the night, we saw Kenny Omega win, and man, what a match! And that Vikingo, he looks young, impressive. I mean, he did some stuff, Greg, that there was a slow motion shot of the 630 over the top rope, and I mean he tapped the ring apron. If he's an inch over, that that might not land as well. So that was interesting to see. But I think unfortunately the bigger story was Hangman coming back, and then Don Callis going down with Hangman holding the chair to make that Kenny Omega thinking, oh, Hangman just took out Don Callis. And Greg, they kind of played this on BTE where Kenny Omega left the group chat that was the Elite. So I thought that was, interesting. So what do we make of Kenny Omega? Is he maybe on the way out?
Very interesting, very juicy. Plot points here. First, I agree with you that the angle, that the action's already started before the cameras start rolling, and you already have casualties headed to the hospital. Thankfully, that's not done often. They save it for the right time, and this was definitely the right time for that. And seeing with the BCC's, heel turn definitely fits. And I love it that they're making the BCC a bunch of killers instead of, usually most evil factions are, cowardly heels. And this
Yeah.
is not that. This is the opposite of that. They're, trained killers, and you're going to have to beat them by force. So I love it.
They can wrestle when they need to.
Exactly. It's old horseman style.
Mm-hmm.
Go separate your opponents, beat them down, and send them away to the hospital. Um, so it's just more violent version of the old horseman.
Yep.
So love that. And then, yeah, that match with Kenny and Vikingo, amazing, and loved it. That even though Kenny got the win, Vikingo was the one who won that night because you know pretty much all of us are seeing him for the first time. He's AAA champion in Mexico. There's nowhere in the U.S. that I know of to watch AAA wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our first exposure to him. We don't know him from Adam, and here he is, and he's doing these insane moves. He said that 6:30. When I saw that, and looking at how close Kitty was on that table to the apron, I was like, "What move is he going to do from here that's going to make sense?" And that move was insane. So I'm glad he didn't injure himself doing that. But holy cow, this guy is amazing. Uh, and I'm on the Ray Phoenix bandwagon as far as greatest luchador on the planet. This guy gave me a little bit of pause right there. It's like, holy crap, this dude. Um, but I need to see more Vikingo before I come off my stance that Ray Phoenix is still the best luchador on the planet. But this guy is definitely in the conversation, and you can see why he's carrying the AAA championship.
Yep.
So, props to those two, Kenny and Vikingo, for a banger of a main event. And then with the BCZ coming in to continue to beat down, and then Heyman coming back in the ambulance, and so many layers unfolding. Is Heyman going to join the elite full force, and you're going to have the old band back together, as they say. That's what it was looking like until you had the chair spot, and it took me a minute to figure out. It's like, what's he doing? Because Heyman's holding the chair, and Callis takes a bump, and it looks like he grabbed his arm and then threw himself backwards. Like, what is he doing? And then he get it. Okay, so he's made it look like Heyman hit him, and
it took a little long to play out.
Right.
Like, I don't know, their timing was a little bit off, but in the end, it served the purpose.
Yeah, but Callis doesn't want Heyman anything to do anything with Kenny, and keeping Kenny kind of an island by himself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so,
I would say an island of relevancy.
Oh, if only. If only.
That's what I don't. Yeah. I mean, if Omega, if he sails off for different seas, Greg, give me him and Roman like
absolutely
SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Give me something. So Royal Rumble. But.
Hey, but we're talking about people popping up at WrestleMania. The pop that would Kenny and Omega get. Yeah, give me that. Just inject that into my veins. Give me that right now, because the place is going to go insane. You don't think that WWE and AEW fans cross pollinate. They don't want you to think so, but
they do.
He shows up, and everybody is going to know who he is, and everybody's going to go crazy.
Especially a WrestleMania crowd. Now, I guess if you did have him pop up on a Raw in Omaha, Nebraska, Greg, I think there'd be a pop, but you're going to have to save Omega for one of these big moments.
Yeah, you need a huge stage for him. He's worth it. And then I didn't see that. Don't watch BTE, so I know about the thing about the group chat, and if it means he's leaving, oh boy, because there's only one place he's going to go.
Or they're just making it look like he's going to leave.
Right.
It's that other, like, they're just working all the bases to hope, work out, renegotiate contract, sign a new contract, give him some leeway in there or something. How about the other aspect, Greg? What about another team that might be on the way out? I don't really care about the first match. Sting won, like
Yeah.
legit won the match for his team, Greg. Why in the world in the year of our Lord of 2023 is Sting? I mean, Sting winning a match in 2023. Anyway, so I did like commentary calling out that Darby Allin was focused on the double or nothing sign, which is good. That's good foreshadowing. But I want to get into FTR because what did they say? They wanted to up the stakes. They said, we will quit AEW, which is kind of funny because they're still Ring of Honor, Greg, that they could technically go, but whatever. They're going to put their, AEW career on the line against the Guns. And like we've said, I mean, this April talk, they're talking about, they're talking of what they could do. So, FTR on the way out.
If I was forced to make a bet right now, I would say yes.
Or it goes the opposite, where this is just a red herring, and they're re-signed already, and they're going to win the titles.
You'd think that they're going to win the titles back.
Yeah.
But they're being very, I'm sure, purposely vague about what their April plans are, knowing their deal is up, and details coming soon. Can't say anything because it's illegal. Blah blah blah. But to lose twice to the Guns, I mean, you lose your best in the world status. Once the fluke, two, now is a trend. So I see it as they're going to get the win and get the titles, but it's a great, like you said, red herring to throw out there and make people think, oh, maybe they're going back. And it would make sense for them to go back. You sure they're Triple H guys? Look how their run in NXT went. There's a lot that can be done with them on WWE TV, especially with the gross lack of tag team talent. So they would be huge coming back. But
yeah, like I said, I think my bet is they're re-signed already, and we'll see them win the tag team titles sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So, Hook defeated Stokely Hathaway. Greg, part of me is like, hey, it's DQ, blah, blah, blah. Why not just have him win with a roll-up? Stokely, in this regard, he doesn't have to win the FTW champion. You know what, Greg? I'm a sucker for the internet breakage sometimes, and I thought, man, just let Stokely win the FTW title. Even if it's for a day, maybe Hook just beats him the next week, beats him on Rampage, but just so we could hear what Taz's reaction would have been. So now it sounds like we'll have Ethan Page going after Hook, Greg. I mean, Hook's getting TV time. He's going to just run through people. And, yeah, I think the next step of his career is where I want to see. I'm kind of ready for that. This, we're just doing that. We're building the foundation, obviously. But I don't know if this idea of going through the firm is building him up any, is it?
No, aside from just getting TV time and reminding people who he is, because before this, we had the little thing with Jungle Boy, and aside from that, he's barely been on TV at all.
Yeah.
Aside from doing these little gimmick tag teams, remember he had one with Danhausen for a minute. He had one with. Didn't he do something with? From Danhausen to Jungle Boy to there was one other odd pairing he had, but really hasn't done anything. He hasn't been on TV to, get any momentum going in any direction. So, at least this is some consistency and getting him, fresh in the minds of everybody again, and you're setting him up for something more concrete than the FTW championship, which nobody really cares about.
Probably should retire it and then, move on. But, or do something with it. So. Adam Cole, good promo, Greg. Harken back to his NXT one where, what do they do to make me special? They ring the freaking bell. And then Daniel Garcia, Greg, I'm a sports entertainer. So maybe we're starting to, maybe Garcia's starting to get tired of, the Jericho Association, Jericho Appreciation Society, starting to turn towards that. So we'll see Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia going at it though next week. That's a good, nice little physical match to throw Adam Cole in, right? I guess we'll see how the heart, the neck, whatever body part was ailing him, Greg, the head. I guess it was head because he had some bad. He couldn't really walk many steps. He was saying, and then just hard to get up and going out of bed, and lights, and also we'll see. That first first suplex on the back, headshot type deal, and but this is. I like the little callback though to Adam Cole's promo with Karrion Kross.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy, Greg, we'd even bring up on SmackDown or Raw. Where's he been? They're really, really kind of going back to the woodwork with him, I think. But anyways, so Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, what do we think?
I love it. I was watching that promo, waiting for him to see who the guy was going to be, and when his music, I was like, oh wait, okay, this is good stuff right here. Because, like I said, Garcia is another one of those guys that's grown on me over the last year and a half. Great technical wrestler, but he's a heavy. He's a true pro wrestler.
Yeah.
And I love this. You let it slip. I'm a pro wrestler, sports entertainer, and we may be revisiting that. And to that end, Adam Cole could be a guy to bring him into a new clique.
Yeah.
You're not a sports entertainer. You're a pro wrestler at the end of a, amazing 15-minute match. So I love the matchup. Love seeing, this is the level that Adam Cole is going to come back at instead of being in some squash match with Peter Avalon or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And, let him show, okay, I'm all the way back. You're going to get something good.
Serpentico, the most the most losing person on Dynamite history or Rampage history. Dark. Serpentico came and went on Dark and Elevation, Greg. Talk about but hey, he's getting a paycheck, so there we go. Yeah. What else? Moxley beat Stu Grayson. We just saw more of that, cool for Stu to get his first ever one-on-one match on Dynamite. And then Tony Storm defeated Sky Blue. Once again, Rio comes out with the piece of pipe that she just found in the backstage area. We had Hangman come with that weird piece of wood the 1 week, Greg, and then we have, they're like, we're just gonna find the most random, someone's gonna come with a PVC pipe pretty soon. But
right. It did look like a chair leg with the nail still sticking out.
Whatever it was. It just looks kind of awkward. Like, it makes me think of the Union days, Greg, of like Big Show, where he had that big piece of wood, and I think it was Mick Foley and Vince, that weird, just kind of Union clique faction we had way back in the Attitude Era. But anyway, so any thoughts on kind of those two matches? And we already, kind of hit the last main event, or we hit the main event. So any closing thoughts to Dynamite?
No, good Dynamite. But the beginning and end stuff with the Elite and the Kenny and Vikingo match, just I'm trying to think if that's my favorite match of the year. I have to go back through the notebook and see if that's the case. But holy cow, that match was amazing.
We're already we're almost into April now, Greg. We're almost in the halfway point of the year, which is crazy to think. So,
and I think this has been the best AEW Dynamite that I've seen.
Yeah, I saw a lot of good
in a while.
Saw a lot of good talk for it.
Yeah.
So, some other stuff from Rampage that was just last night, right? I think they had Rampage last night. I think I saw Battle of the Belts is coming back too. Is that next week?
I missed that promo. I'm not sure.
I thought they were showing it for some, but It was kind of funny, Greg, because I was looking at the results from last week for Rampage, and Powerhouse Hobbs and Ty were both on there because I got confused for a second. So I was going to make the slides like we do, and I'm like, wait, oh, they're already on there. So uh, Powerhouse Hobbs beat Penta this week, so he's kind of rolling through uh, your favorites there, Greg, Ray Phoenix and Penta, but he's picking up good wins. I still don't know about the QTV. That's really not growing on me, but whatever. Brody King picked up win and the Acclaim picked up win. So I was watching a little segment today, Greg. I guess there was a backstage with the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, and then with Daddy Magic, Cool Hand Luke, Angelo, and then the Jazz guys, 2.0, the show, whatever their name are. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Angelo and
Menard.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, they're going to take them out of the town in St. Louis next week, Greg. So maybe we're getting some Acclaim business with Jericho Appreciation Society, and we'll kind of see how that mixes up. But, any thoughts from Rampage that you have?
Yeah, it was a Rampage. It was okay. It just furthering storylines. The Brody King match was great. That was the best part of the whole night. And then seeing Taya, getting her time in there, and she looks great. And just seeing if she's going to be the one to take Jade out.
I mean, I feel like it has to, right?
Yeah, and I think it's funny that they're using, if not the same move, something very, very, very similar, and you're just transitioning from Jade dominated division with that move to Taya doing it.
And even if you built in she can't win with that type deal, then she just pulls out something else that she has. So.
Yeah. So, love it. It was a good Rampage, but.
Yep. All right, let's do one commercial break, and then we'll get right into our last call. I will wall my misery and Gonzaga's loss last night, and then we'll let you have your little last call too, Greg. So we'll do a quick shout out to Sean Nugent, our realtor, Rockstar Realtor, and then
what is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSPORTS1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
So yes, I know people hate to talk about your brackets, Greg, but my bracket is officially dead in the dust. It is burnt. It is soiled. It is done. After Gonzaga, who I really was like, man, they can't do it now. I don't know when they'll do it, but they bit the dust big time against UConn last night. UConn headed to the Final Four. Fairleigh Dickinson headed to the Final Four, Greg. Then today we'll have either Texas and who's Texas? I just saw who Texas was playing. Anyways, I guess the other sad part is I put $10 on Gonzaga, Greg, to win, which would have won me like $170, which would have been a nice little, $170 that I didn't have before. But anyway, so yeah, who do we got today? We have the scores. This ESPN site sometimes just throws me all over the place. All right, so we have Creighton and San Diego State, and we have Miami and Texas. We will have quite the Final Four with some of these teams. I believe they've all, UConn has won a title. I think everybody else hasn't won a title, so there could be a first-time winner here. I know Creighton has never won one, San Diego never. So yeah, obviously we know Fairleigh Dickinson has never won a title. Heck, all these wins this year, Greg, in the tournament are their first ever tournament wins. So that's crazy
Wow.
to think. But we are ready for WrestleMania weekend. I cannot wait. We'll get our schedule out to you guys. Just follow the page, Super Kicking with Steven. Have some social media presence for it, hopefully. Any last call on your end, Greg, before we wrap up the show?
Well, I am looking forward to the end of the college basketball season after NC State got eliminated. I was off the reservation as far as college basketball goes.
Yeah.
And throwing love over to my Phoenix Suns to finish strong and keep that 4 seed into
Durant
the
playing?
NBA playoffs. He's not yet, but he's
Okay.
close from what I've heard.
Okay.
And if he gets back for
Sources?
those last few games, we'll stay out of the play-in situation and leave that to the scrubs like the Lakers
And the Pacers.
to go through that.
I
Well,
think-
you guys are
I think
Eastern,
my-
so you guys get forgiveness.
I think my
But,
Pacers, Greg. Yeah, I think it's tank. 7 games left. We got killed by the Hawks last night. Got killed by the Sixers the other night. I mean, I think it's sit down, everybody. Sit down Halliburton's been playing, but sit down Miles Turner, who was out yesterday night, Greg. It's just, hey, roll the ball out there and see how many ping pong balls we can get, because I don't think playing game is really worth it to them this time. But good luck to your Suns. We'll of course have our NBA predictions come last call when that time rolls around, which it's, like I said, it's hard to believe. I think I know there's 7 games left for the Pacers. So about 2 weeks left in the NBA season.
Yeah.
But like we said, this is the fun time. March through May is that, summer's starting to come. WrestleMania season's here. Double or Nothing's here. You got the finish of college basketball, the NBA playoffs. You got, my favorite time is May with the IndyCar race of the Indianapolis 500. You got Memorial Day weekend. You got summer. I mean, this is always just a good time to sit back and enjoy it, some sort of sports. But we'll talk off air real quick and kind of get a schedule put together for what we want to do for WrestleMania weekend. We'll cool the AW talk for this weekend, Greg, and just get you all WrestleMania primed and ready. And so appreciate the time. Enjoy the evening. Enjoy the day. And we'll talk to you guys hopefully Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll do a little all weekend previewing for you guys. And we'll definitely let you know. Just follow the page, Super Kicking with Steven on Facebook. That's Super Kicking It with Steven right there for you. And we'll get to you guys what we need. So talk to you guys later.